Hi, what's up, Fast Track Property friends? I hope all of you are doing well. As you can see, this is a new setup. I actually brought down my office from upstairs to the basement. Alright, so I hope you like this new look. Right, anyway, in this video, I'm going to share a little bit about what many may have missed out while planning for our retirement years. And in doing so, if it relates to you, you can quickly fill up those gaps. Alright, so now, the first one is the idea that we will spend lesser during our retirement years. I keep getting that same answer when asked around about how many of us have started planning for our retirement years. Most of the similar replies are, it is still a long way to go and not to worry, as when I reach 65, most of my debts are already paid for and I can always reduce my personal spendings, right? Alright, and therefore I still have a lot of time to think about it before taking any action. Well guys, fun fact. Do you spend more during the weekdays when you're working? Or do you spend more during the weekends? Many spend more during the weekends when you are actually outside relaxing, going out to restaurants, bringing your children out, going to the movies, and what have you. Well, guess what? When you're retired, every day is a weekend. Alright? And number two, the age of our partner. If you have not considered this, and if you're in the same situation as me, when the age gap between me and my wife are quite far apart, you really need to consider that time difference. Will there be enough left over for the younger party after you? Until the day he or she moves on. And if the age gap is really wide and your income is overweight on your side, upon your desired retirement, is there then enough for your younger partner and possibly your children who could be at that time still studying? Take for example, if I intend to retire by age 55, my wife will only be 46 years old and my two girls will be 21 and 20. Meaning that during my retirement years, my girls will still be studying in the local university or overseas. And there could possibly be expenses for the next 50 years using my wife's age. Therefore, while drafting out and writing down my retirement plans, we have to be very aware of these and do up the numbers as accurate as possible, and then start to work backwards and strategize how do we then come up with all this amount. Is this making sense to you? And number three, non-negotiable expenses and debts beyond age 65. This, guys, is an extension from the first point. If you're looking to retire at age 65, you are right by the argument that at the age, many large expenses will have been fully paid off and hence overall expenses will have dropped substantially. But the following could have been overlooked. Number one, as many of us are working towards owning at least 2 private properties, and in this period, we could have used strategies to extend our mortgage up to age 75. Though this strategy is amazing, it helps you out with your family's cash flow early on, you should not abuse it and instead have a plan to either restructure this property to a smaller, fully paid, cash-generating property before your retirement, or if you decided to actually keep it for the longer term, then work towards paying it off before 65 years old. And do not forget those fixed items such as property tax and maintenance too. Okay? And the next one would be your insurance plans. If you didn't have the habit of doing a yearly review of your family's policies, I suggest you get started. Some policies in the early days came with payments for life, alright? As such, these are like your life policies, your personal accident policies, and especially now, many families have also included those 1 million term plans, right? Coverage up to age 99. These are all payments for the rest of your life. So you have to remember to cater for that. But if you had already restructured those life policies earlier on and have opted for the limited payment plans, check when is your last payment, as it could stretch way beyond your retirement days till age 75. Alright? And finally, your hospitalization plans. This particular plan is really scary, as unlike those other plans I mentioned earlier, this is an increasing payment plan that changes every 5 years and then every 2 years. Alright? An example will be this from NTUC Income. Here you can see
that if you're looking at two parts of the plans, right, one is the rider and the other one will be the main plan. So if you look at anything which is beyond age 65, you can see that it breaks into the premiums, what you could use using your Medisave, and then the other one which is a cash outlay. So here you can see that it's every 5 years, and then after that, beyond from 71 is 2 years. There's a jump, right? So if you look at 66 to 70 here, out of the cash payment, you got to fork out 1641, and for the riders, you're looking at 3487, and it continues to go up as you grow older. And of course, if you look at this, you would know that for the past 1 year, there's been so many talks about the hospitalization plan and what they keep revising it, isn't it? So it's something that you cannot change, and I think it's something that for medical care in Singapore, we all need that. So we should really pay careful attention to this for our retirement planning.
Therefore, from age 65, if you do not plan out the correct payment structure early on when you are younger, the possible constant and increasing expenses for these insurance policies, your life plans, your term plans, and your hospitalization plans with the riders, all these could easily cost the both of you $12,000 to $15,000 a year. Alright, now the fourth item will be failing to factor in inflation. Now, many of us, especially those in the age groups of 35 to 45, are planning as if everything is going to cost the same 20 years later, right? We can see many examples today. Back in the year 2000, if you use food such as the McDonald's Big Mac, it used to cost $2.80, and by 2016, around $5.50, and today it is much higher. Now, what about education? Since the year 2000 till today, you can see from the CPI Education Index that the cost of education has increased a total of 80.7% over the past 20 years. Alright? And now, finally, what about property? Back in the year 2000, we could have owned a unit in Campus Heights, which is just above the Sengkang MRT station, paying only $508 per square feet for a 1292 square feet unit, which would have only cost you 656K at a time. Today, just one station away, Sengkang Grand Residences is going for a crazy 1676 per square feet for a 1033 square feet unit, costing you today at $1.732 million. And this is a 329% increase. So what does this mean to you? To me, it means that back in the year 2000, if you had $1 million in your bank and were retired, you would have an amazing life, living that type of lifestyle you always wanted in your retirement years. But today, and certainly 20 years later, the same $1 million seems to be really insufficient. And this is something that we really need to think about. Okay? And number 5, know where your retirement income will come from and having a budget. Alright, it seems simple enough, but when you get to retirement, it is very important to know which accounts to draw from, when and how much. You could categorize it into 2 segments. The lower risk accounts, which is your CPF RA accounts, your bond investment accounts, and your real estate rental income, right? And the middle to high risk accounts would be your shares or equities account, your cryptocurrencies or crypto coins account, and your unit trust or mutual funds. And lastly, your spending account. Now, how much must these individual accounts perform yearly? And is it enough to maintain you and your partner's lifestyle? And after which, you need to plan how much and from which account do you transfer your money from and into your spending account. And should this be done on a monthly or quarterly basis? And if you have only one account, right, where your income comes in and goes out, and what is left over is left in the same account, and the next month again the income comes in and goes out, right, this whole process repeats. Personally, I think that having too much money in one account is going to be very confusing and at times giving you an artificial overview of your financial health. So do differentiate your accounts, investment, and your spending. And if you did not have the habit, you should start one immediately. And number 6, the lifestyle that you and your partner will be happy with. Keyword is happy. Now, this is a part where most of us should debate heavily upon with ourselves and our partners. Do understand this. From the ages of 30 to 60, we experience our most productive, most colorful, most competitive, most successful, and most prideful moments of our lives. And it is also during this period of time we experience one of our most comfortable, most enjoyable, most spend-free way of life. And so here comes two different schools of thought. While planning for your retirement budget, be honest with yourself. And if for the past 30 years you have been dining in restaurants maybe 5 times a week, you own a car and have been enjoying the comfort and privacy the car has offered you, traveling for holiday at least twice a year, or perhaps enjoying the facilities of a condo that's provided you where you could just swim, play tennis, or just take a nice walk around the compound in the evenings. And if you ever fell sick and had to be hospitalized, you enjoyed the privilege of being warded as a private patient in a Class A ward, where you enjoy its air conditioning, its privacy where there is no other stranger sharing your space, and your toilet. Or if you love to host and have always been used to a particular type of variety of food that has given you great satisfaction. Can you and your partner really downgrade to a totally different lifestyle during your retirement years? And if the answer is yes, then work on that budget. But if you so desire to also enjoy and not downgrade your lifestyle, then you need to work on your new budget and a new plan of what you can do and take action today to continue to hold on to these same privileges. And you really need to speak to your partner about this because at times you realize that both of you are not aligned. Okay? Now at number 7, plan your time and have good social connections. When you wake up to having too much time all of a sudden, and unlike your previous working self, you might have no more sense of purpose, no sense of structure, and there could be a chance you head into depression. Therefore, make detailed plans on how you like to structure your days, your weeks, the people you are going to catch up either on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. In essence, a new pattern for your days. And while doing that, it is really vital to think about what you can do that will give you that same feeling of satisfaction and pleasure or more, right? The same feeling you had before your retirement days. And it will definitely take some adjustments. Some examples would be, what if one person loves golfing while the other doesn't? One person loves fishing while the other doesn't. And guess what? You want to start to do more of what you love when you have more time in your hands, right? Then leaving the other person possibly feeling neglected. And you will say to that person, hey, this is not an issue last time, why are you making such a fuss now? But that was because your partner was also occupied then. And all these will cause unnecessary arguments and misunderstanding. According to a study by a London-based Institute of Economic Affairs, the likelihood that someone will suffer from a clinical depression actually goes up by about 40% after retirement. Therefore, do plan for both your emotional wealth as well, okay? Number 8, coordinate your retirement plans with your partner. Now, what this means is that if you do not discuss and coordinate when both of you wants to retire together and there is any misalignment, it might cause unnecessary constraints on your marriage, where one party becomes too dependent on the other. From the same example of age gap between my wife and myself, if I decide to retire by 55 and she's only 46, and she might not want to retire at the same time as me, right? Or not quite ready to retire yet. Therefore, all of a sudden, I will start to have so much time in my hands while she's still busy with her business or career. And I could start feeling lonely and selfishly demand for more of her companionship, which she is unable to give. which could in turn lead to unnecessary stress in our marriage. Therefore, speak with your partner and discuss on your retirement timeline and align them together. And after that, get excited and start working together towards achieving that desired lifestyle. For me, my personal experience is that after we have discussed and aligned those mega plans, obviously I cannot tell you how it is like as I have not retired yet, but I can tell you that personally our journey, the path that we walk together, those time away from each other, those sacrifices that we make, the delayed gratification, our investments in properties, in the stock market, the risks that we take together, we both know that it is all going towards those mega plans that we made together. This in itself has been amazing and an incredible, beautiful journey. Alright? So what are some possible solutions you could consider? Start to learn how to invest as young as possible, guys. Right? This is a fun fact again. If you could save $10,000 a year, right? 10K 1 year, 10K the following year, 10K again the year after, for the next 30 years, that is going to leave you with $300,000, right? Now, if you could just put in a little effort to learn how to make 10% returns a year for the next 30 years, this amount will have ballooned up to $1.8 million. Now, you can say you have no time lah, so risky lah, work commitment lah, a lot of reasons, okay? So let's talk about the laziest way to invest, and that is an index. From age 30, saving 10K a year since 1991 till today, 2001, 30 years, right? In the S&P 500, we have earned you a 10.7% returns yearly. So if you had opened an account then, gyroed 10K a year, and did not even look at this account until today, your account would have grown up to $2 million today. And obviously for those of you whom are willing to put in a bit more effort to gain the right knowledge and skills, that same 2 million journey could have been halved. Okay? And next, what I love the most, to buy and invest in real estate as early as possible. Take advantage of your youth and the number of years you can leverage from the bank. And can you imagine, if all you did was buy the right property, it could be either a HDB, an EC, a private condominium, or a landed property. Whichever you decide to buy, in 30 years, all will be fully paid. Which would you then prefer to own? Which property would have given you more options in the future? Yes, I can hear your thoughts over the video, okay? You'll be telling me, I cannot afford a condo lah, I can't afford a landed, right? Then use the fast track property method, where what you cannot afford today, you will be able to afford in the next 5 years. Alright guys, I hope this helps all of you to craft a better plan, and remember to speak to your partner, okay? Don't ego, okay? Right, so thank you for watching. My name is Darren Ng. Stay safe and speak to all of you soon.